What if the oil sitting in your garage right now is the reason your mower engine will not survive another summer? Most people never find out until the engine is already gone, and by then it feels like bad luck instead of a mistake that was made months earlier, one quart at a time. Before we go further, if you care about getting more years out of your equipment, hit that like button right now. It tells me this kind of breakdown is worth making more of, and it costs you nothing but a second. Subscribe if you want the real answers mechanics use instead of the guesses everyone else repeats. And if you know someone who just bought a new mower, send them this video before they make the same mistake their neighbor already made. Here is the part nobody explains at the store. You walk in, you see a bottle of oil, you check the number on the front and you pour it in. That feels like common sense. It is the same oil that keeps your car running for 200,000 miles, so why would it not work in a mower? The honest answer takes a few minutes to fully understand. But once you see it, you will never look at that oil aisle the same way again. It is not about brand loyalty, and it is not about spending more money. It is about the simple fact that two engines built for completely different jobs were never meant to share the same bottle of oil, no matter how convenient that feels standing in the store. The answer is simple once you see it, and it has nothing to do with the brand on the bottle. It comes down to how your engine actually survives the heat it creates. Your car has a cooling system working every second it runs. Coolant moves through the engine block, pulls the heat away, and a radiator throws that heat into the air outside. A thermostat keeps the whole system inside a narrow, safe range. If something goes wrong and the temperature climbs too high, a light comes on. You see it, you pull over. The car protects itself, and it protects you from making things worse. Your mower engine has none of that. No coolant, no radiator, no thermostat, no warning light. It cools itself with metal fins on the outside of the cylinder and whatever air happens to be blowing past while you cut. That is the entire cooling system, fins and moving air. Now think about what you are actually asking that engine to do. Full throttle, constant load, an hour or two without a break, often in the hottest part of the afternoon. Mechanics who have tested this with real temperature gauges on riding mowers and zero turns have recorded oil temperatures well above 200 degrees during a hard summer cut. Your car would be flashing warning lights at that point. Your mower just keeps going because nothing is there to tell it to stop. That difference is the whole story. Heat builds up inside an engine that has no way to release it quickly, and the oil is the only thing standing between the metal parts and real damage. When that oil is not built for the heat it is sitting in, it starts to break down. Not all at once, slowly, cut after cut, season after season, until one summer the engine just is not what it used to be. Think about what oil is actually doing inside any engine. It is not just there to make things slippery. It is a microscopic cushion, only a few thousandths of an inch thick, separating two pieces of moving metal that would otherwise grind against each other and wear out fast. As long as that cushion holds, the engine runs smooth and quiet for thousands of hours. The moment that cushion gets too thin or breaks down from heat, metal starts touching metal. You will not hear it happen in the moment. You will not see it happen. You will just notice, a season or two later, that the engine does not start as easily, runs a little rougher, and burns a little more oil than it used to. By the time it is loud enough to notice, the damage has already been building for a long time. This is exactly why two identical mowers, bought on the same day from the same store, can end up with completely different lifespans. One owner happens to use oil that matches the engine. The other does not. A few years later, one mower is still cutting grass every weekend without complaint, and the other is sitting at the curb waiting to be hauled away. Nobody set out to ruin their engine. The outcome was decided quietly, one oil change at a time, long before either owner noticed any difference at all. There's a second piece most homeowners never even think about. Your car engine has an oil filter, cleaning out the tiny particles of metal and grime every time the oil circulates. Plenty of small mower engines, especially the single-cylinder ones on push mowers, do not have a filter at all. Whatever goes in stays in, collecting heat, dirt, and wear particles until the day you finally drain it. Even mowers that do have a filter use a much simpler system than what sits under the hood of a car. A study from Briggs and Stratton found that close to half of all homeowners believe automotive oil and small engine oil are basically the same product. That is not a small number. That is millions of people pouring something into their mower that was never designed for the job it is being asked to do. And here is the part that matters most. This is not because people are careless. Nobody ever explained the difference. You see a number on a bottle, you assume it means the same thing everywhere, and you move on with your day. That is a completely reasonable thing to do when no one ever told you otherwise. The big automotive brands sitting on that shelf make excellent oil. They just built it for a different kind of engine entirely. one with a cooling system doing most of the hard work for it. So let's talk about what actually happens once the wrong oil goes into a hot mower engine, because this is where the real damage starts. Oil thickness is not just a feeling between your fingers. It describes how the oil behaves once things heat up and the engine is working hard. An oil that performs perfectly in a car running at a stable temperature can behave completely differently inside a mower running far hotter for far longer. Engine makers like Kawasaki recommend a thicker oil, something in the range of 10W40 in normal conditions, moving up to a heavier 20W50 once the weather turns hot. That heavier oil is built to keep its protective film intact even as the engine temperature climbs. Now think about what is sitting on most hardware store shelves. Cheap, easy to find, perfectly fine for a car. In a mower engine running far hotter, that thinner oil simply cannot hold its protective layer together. As the heat rises, the film gets thinner, and at some point during a long, hot mowing session, it stops doing its job the way it should. Most homeowners have actually seen the result of this without ever connecting the dots. You check the dipstick partway through the season and the oil level is lower than it should be. The natural assumption is that the engine is old and burning oil because it is wearing out. In a lot of cases, the real reason is much simpler. The oil itself is too thin for the heat, and a portion of it is vaporizing and escaping right through the engine vent. The engine is not failing. The oil was never built to survive the conditions it was placed in. If you keep topping that same oil off all season, the cycle just repeats. The engine runs a little hotter than it should, the protection wears a little thinner, and nobody ever figures out why the mower that used to last for years suddenly does not anymore. That gap between what the engine actually needs and what most people pour into it is exactly where long-term damage begins. And thickness is only half of the story. There is a second issue that almost nobody talks about, and it might be the bigger one. It comes down to a single ingredient called zinc. Zinc has been used in engine oil for decades as an anti-wear additive. Under heavy load, when metal parts are pressed together hard enough to squeeze the oil film thin, zinc forms a protective layer right on the surface of the metal. That layer is what keeps components from grinding against each other when the oil alone is not quite enough. In a small engine running hot, revving hard, and built with slightly looser internal tolerances than a precision car engine, that zinc layer matters a great deal. It protects the camshaft, the valve train, and the bearings, exactly the parts that fail first when an engine is starved of proper protection. Here is the catch almost nobody knows about. Since the mid-90s, regulations have required automotive oil makers to lower the amount of zinc in their oil. That change had nothing to do with protecting engines better. It was about protecting catalytic converters. When zinc burns inside an engine, it produces ash, and that ash slowly damages the catalytic converter over time. So the industry pulled zinc levels down across the board to keep those converters alive longer. Your mower does not have a catalytic converter. It has no emissions equipment that zinc could ever damage. What it does have is an air-cooled engine running hot, with internal parts that depend on that same zinc layer for protection. The oil sitting on the shelf was reformulated around a part your mower will never own, and the engine pays the price for a trade-off it never needed. That is not a flaw in automotive oil. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, just for a completely different machine. The problem only shows up when that oil ends up somewhere it was never meant to go. Think about how strange that trade-off really is once you lay it out. An entire generation of oil was redesigned around a part that exists in your car and does not exist anywhere on your mower. Nobody making that decision was thinking about your engine at all, because they were not supposed to be. The regulation was written for vehicles on the road, not for outdoor equipment sitting in a garage. But the bottles look the same. The labels do not explain any of this. So the oil keeps moving from the automotive shelf into mower engines that needed something completely different, and the engine quietly pays the cost for a rule it was never part of. This is the piece that explains why an engine can look fine from the outside right up until the moment it is not. Reduced zinc protection does not cause a sudden failure. It causes a slow, steady increase in friction on parts that were never designed to handle that much wear. The camshaft lobes round off a little earlier than they should. The valve train gets noisier than it used to be. The bearings lose their tight tolerances a few years before their time. None of this shows up on a dipstick. None of it triggers a warning. It just quietly shortens the life of an engine that could have run twice as long with the right protection from the very first oil change. So what do mechanics actually put in their own equipment? There are a few clear answers, and each one lines up with a specific type of engine. For Kawasaki engines, the straightforward choice is Kawasaki's own small engine oil, formulated specifically for their high-output, constant-speed, air-cooled designs. It is not a generic automotive oil wearing a different label. It is built around the real operating conditions those engines face, with the thickness and additive balance matched to the heat they actually generate. Some dealers have noted that using oil outside the manufacturer's recommendation can complicate a warranty claim if something goes wrong, though outcomes always depend on the specific situation. A quart typically costs less than a fast food meal, and it is the difference between an engine that quietly runs for thousands of hours and one that starts burning oil within a few short seasons. If your mower checks all this, give the video a like before we go further. Not for me, for the next person scrolling who is about to make the same mistake you almost made. A like is the only thing that tells this platform to put the truth in front of more people instead of the guesswork everyone else is repeating. The second option worth knowing is a synthetic small engine oil built specifically for these conditions, separate from the automotive aisle entirely. This matters because a large share of oils labeled for small engines on store shelves are really just standard automotive formulas with a different sticker. True small engine synthetic oil is engineered from the start for higher operating temperatures, constant heavy load, and longer exposure to the byproducts of combustion. In lab testing, formulas built this way have shown dramatically lower oil consumption compared to standard conventional oils under the same conditions, with some results showing more than a 60% reduction. That is the kind of oil that keeps protecting the engine when it is 90 degrees outside and you still have half the yard left to cut. Mechanics who run commercial zero turns for a living tend to reach for this kind of oil for one simple reason: time. They do not have hours to spare checking dipsticks between jobs or topping off oil that keeps disappearing in the heat. An oil engineered to survive that heat in the first place means fewer surprises, fewer mid-season top-offs, and far less chance of an engine quietly running low on protection during the busiest stretch of the season. For a homeowner cutting 1 yard a week, the stakes are smaller, but the principle is exactly the same. An oil that is not fighting the heat all afternoon is an oil that is actually doing its job. The third path applies specifically to Briggs and Stratton engines, which power a huge share of the mowers sitting in driveways across the country. The company has updated its own recommendations to favor a full synthetic oil across nearly all temperature ranges, citing easier starts and noticeably lower oil consumption compared to conventional oil. For commercial use, heavy-duty V-twin engines, or anyone mowing through long, hot seasons, they also offer a heavier synthetic built specifically for that kind of demand. The company has been direct about steering owners away from oils labeled for fuel economy, the exact label found on most standard automotive oils, because those products are tuned to save gas in a car, not to survive the heat inside a mower. It is a small detail, but it tells you everything about how differently these two worlds were designed. A car engine spends most of its life cruising at a steady, moderate load, so saving fuel matters enormously, and oil makers chase that goal hard. A mower engine spends almost its entire life at full throttle under heavy load, so fuel economy means almost nothing, and durability under heat means almost everything. Pouring a fuel-saving formula into an engine that needs the opposite priority is not a small mismatch. It is asking the oil to optimize for a problem your mower does not even have, while ignoring the one problem it actually faces every single time you mow. Owners who have made the switch consistently describe the same thing: an engine that cools down within half a minute after mowing instead of needing several minutes of idling just to bring the temperature back down. That is not a number from a marketing brochure. That is something you can actually feel the next time you shut the engine off and put your hand near it. None of these three options are complicated to find, and none of them cost much more than what is already sitting on the shelf next to them. The real obstacle was never price or availability. It was simply not knowing that a difference existed in the first place. Once you know which bottle matches your engine, the decision takes the same 5 minutes it always did. The only thing that changes is what happens inside that engine for the next 10 years. It is worth saying plainly that this is not about chasing the most expensive product on the shelf. A higher price tag does not automatically mean better protection. What matters is whether the oil was actually engineered around the conditions your engine faces: the heat, the constant load, and the lack of any cooling system beyond a few metal fins. Manufacturer-specific oils and true synthetic small engine formulas check that box. Standard automotive oil, no matter how trusted the brand name is, was simply never asked to solve that problem. There's also a simple way to check what your own engine actually calls for, and it takes less effort than most people expect. The owner's manual that came with your mower lists the exact oil weight and type the manufacturer recommends, often printed right on a sticker near the dipstick itself. Most people never open that manual past the first page. It sits in a drawer or gets thrown out with a cardboard box, and the only number anyone ever looks at again is the one printed on whatever oil bottle happens to be closest at the store. 5 minutes spent matching the manual to the right bottle is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy for an engine that costs hundreds of dollars to replace. Here is the part worth sitting with for a moment. The oil on the shelf at any auto parts store is genuinely good oil. There is nothing wrong with it. It does exactly what it was designed to do inside a liquid-cooled engine, with a filter cleaning it constantly, a thermostat keeping the temperature steady, and a catalytic converter shaping how much zinc it is allowed to carry. The problem was never the quality of that oil. The problem is that your mower shares almost none of those features. Your mower runs wide open, in direct heat, with no coolant pulling temperature away and no thermostat slowing anything down. Every choice that automotive oil was built around simply does not exist on the machine sitting in your shed. Skipping the right oil or grabbing whatever is closest on the shelf does not feel like a big decision in the moment. It feels like saving a few dollars and a few minutes. But that small shortcut is what slowly turns a $600 or $800 engine into scrap metal, one hot mowing season at a time. And the frustrating part is that it is completely avoidable. The fix does not take extra time. It does not cost much more money. It just takes knowing which bottle to actually reach for before the season starts, instead of finding out the hard way when the engine finally gives up. If this changed the way you will shop for oil this season, do not keep it to yourself. Forward this to the one friend who mows their lawn every single weekend without ever thinking twice about what is in the tank. You might be the reason their mower outlasts everyone else's on the street. Engines do not fail because mowers are badly built. Most of the machines people complain about were perfectly capable of running for thousands of hours. They failed because of a decision made every single time someone reached for the wrong bottle without knowing there was a better one sitting right next to it. That is really what separates a mower that dies in 3 years from one that is still starting on the first pull a decade later. It is rarely the machine. It is almost always what went into it. One oil change at a time, season after season, long before anyone noticed anything was wrong. Think back to the question we started with. What if the oil in your garage is the reason your mower will not survive another summer? You now know the honest answer. It is not your mower's fault, and it was never really your fault either. Nobody ever sat you down and explained why a car engine and a mower engine need two completely different kinds of protection. You did the reasonable thing with the information you had. Now you have better information. The next time you're standing in that aisle, you will know exactly what to look for. Not the bottle that is easiest to grab, but the one actually built for the engine you own. That one deck, engine repeated every season, is the quiet difference between replacing your mower in 3 years and never having to think about replacing it at all. Somewhere out there is a mower running on the wrong oil right now, getting a little weaker every time it gets cut on, with an owner who has no idea anything is wrong. A few years from now, that engine will struggle to start, and the owner will assume it just got old. It did not get old. It got starved of the one thing it needed the whole time. The fix was never complicated. It was just unknown. You do not have that excuse anymore. The next oil change you do is the one that decides whether your mower is the kind that quietly dies in year 3, or the kind still cutting grass without complaint long after everyone else on the street has bought a replacement. That choice is yours now, and it costs less than you think.